our brothers who are former bankers in FNB. We met with Brother Siphelele Jele, Simon Masimula, and Olani Ngosi. And amongst the conversations that we had, these three brothers are all former bankers of the FNB. Let us explain that Black First Land First is an anti-racism organization. We fight racism wherever it shows its ugly head. And we have been very worried and concerned by reports that our brothers have been dismissed in the manner that this has happened. It is, in our view, a clear case of racism, of bullying, of intimidation, and an attempt to also make sure that no one raises the issue of transformation within the banking system. FNB is a consistent offender. It's a rogue bank. It's one of the rogue banks. We know that, for instance, the FNB Chief Executive Officer, Jacques Sellers, was one of the people who decided to downgrade the South African Airways, state-owned entity, trying to mobilize society against a government entity. Instead of supporting SAA, he came out and attacked the SAA, said he was not going to use it. That is part of white monopoly capital's attack on democracy, on this government, and in particular an attack on President Zuma. We also know that FNB is one of the banks guilty of corruption and competition. We also know that FNB is one of those banks which are facing a constitutional court challenge for racism with regard to mortgages and taking our people's houses. So, if we look in the totality of the actions of FNB, it is a regime change bank. It is a bank that wants to make sure that white monopoly capital remains, white monopoly in the banking sector remains, the banking system must remain racist. The sin of these brothers is that they spoke out against racism. That's the only sin. The sin of these brothers is that they want a banking system. In today, we see any black person that speaks out against racism is quickly made into the perpetrator. Victims of racism, black people are victims of racism, made into the perpetrators of racism. Their jobs, they lose their jobs, they lose their livelihoods, they are blackmailed or enlisted, because also the banking system is a monopoly. These brothers are not going to get a job anyway. That is part of the punishment that the white system meets against black people who speak out. We must not allow that as black people in this country. And all people who love justice must not allow this kind of thing. Take an example of Helen Zille. Helen Zille praises colonialism. Colonialism is a system of land dispossession, a system of genocide against black people, a system of a Holocaust against black people. Helen Zille praises the colonialism. She was not removed from her job. She was not removed as a premier of Western Cape. She's still there. These brothers are talking about racism, an evil sin that must be removed, but they are the ones who have been turned to the evil ones. We must challenge that. Now, what are we going to do? And we will allow our brothers to reflect on this. We agreed in the meeting that we must take actions. BLF is an organization of action. We have agreed we must take actions. The first thing we're going to do is to send a letter to the Chief Executive of FNB, Jacques Sellers, demanding a meeting for Wednesday, 11 a.m. at the headquarters of FNB. We can't waste any more time. This is an urgent matter. We are writing a letter right now. We'll dispatch it to FNB headquarters, addressed to the Chief Executive Officer there. We want an urgent meeting on Wednesday. BLF will go to that meeting with these comrades. and they will send a delegation to the headquarters of. Then BLF is going to write a letter to the Minister of Finance, Malusi Gigaba. In our letter, we're going to advise the Minister of Finance to consider withdrawing all the state accounts that they have with FNB. It's important that our government does not do business with racist institutions which are independent. What happens Wednesday must determine whether those bank accounts remain open or they're shut down. Ourselves as BLF, we have an account with FNB. Also, as a movement, as a revolutionary movement, we are going to consider to withdraw our account with FNB. One of our accounts with FNB. We are going to also ask all progressive institutions, individuals, to also consider doing the same. We can't trade with a racist bank, which is overtly racist. Now, Wednesday meeting, whether we withdraw our bank accounts, but we want everybody to put FNB on notice. Resolve this matter, or we are withdrawing our accounts. Resolve this matter in the way of reparations and restitution. These brothers must lose nothing. They must be put back to the position they were. Already, it's almost a year they have been out of work. And we can see, as BLF, we're clear, there is a blacklisting of these comrades. They are bankers, experienced, competent. They do not lose their job because of incompetence. In an environment where there are no jobs, FNB is retrenching or is firing people for no reasons whatsoever. So, part of the action also we're going to take is on the 9th of September, we're going to call a public meeting to discuss banking and transformation. And we'll have these comrades, other people in the banking, black people in the banking sector, so that we can explain to our people what is going on in the banking sector. The last action we had agreed that we will take is that we are going to do a legal review of the matter. We are going to brief an attorney and then ask this attorney to brief an advocate so that this matter is also reviewed from the point of view of law. We want to also at this point make a call to black lawyers to raise their hands. Do not allow black people to be brutalized by racism and you don't come to their rescue. We don't have money. All we have is that we are fighting for justice. Black lawyers, black senior advocates, we call upon you to take a stand. Do not let our people to be abused by AfriForum, which is going to say it wants to assist. Meanwhile, we know what they are doing is to perpetuate racism. Do not leave us at the mercy of racists and land thieves such as AfriForum. We are making a big call to black lawyers. Come on board. Raise your hands. Let us together also use the law to defend the rights of our people. On our side, in conclusion, as Black First, Land First, we are committed completely to fighting this war, this battle with our brothers. We will taste victory together, or we will taste defeat together. We have lived through 350 years of systematic racism. Now, in 1994, we're told we're free. But we are still like those people who, when Jan van Riebeeck arrived here and brutalized them, we're not going to allow that. So, our commitment as BLF is clear. We're going to fight on your side. And we had a productive meeting. And we call on our people to be aware what is happening and to also support the call. FNB must either reinstate these brothers, pay reparations, or it must face direct action from our people, including boycotting at that bank. Thank you very much. So I don't know who of you comrades want to make an intervention. Maybe you. Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Comrade Mkhitam. I'll have to actually say this. What made the meeting prior to the briefing more easier and very thanks. What made the meeting prior to the briefing very thank you again. Thank you again. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, that what made the interaction more profound and very easier, or a smooth sailing between the leadership of BLF present here and also our fellow former colleagues, is that the ideology is almost of the same one, which says we should decolonize our minds firstly and our people's minds, which was one of the main things that we were doing in a form of conscientizing people, sharing stories about how beautiful being black is, and telling them that being pro-black is not being racist. It's just loving yourself. It's self-love. So that's what made the meeting a sort of a smooth sailing. And more importantly, in the actual case, the most disturbing factor is that the African National Congress has taught us to fight racism and transformation whenever it raises its ugly head. But they have never even once tried to intervene in making sure that these employees who are paying the heavy price of being unemployed in this very difficult time are assisted. And one of the main reasons we were victimized and lately shift out of the system was because we were perceived as being ANC members. But the very same African National Congress, which we so much love and we so much represent, has not came to the fore to say, hey, you understand that you have paid the price because of our brand. Can we please try to assist? That's the most disturbing part. The second part is the mere fact that white bosses in offices are still protected in this very day. What triggered the whole drama with us ended up being fired was the mere fact that we had a grievance. If we were to go to the nitty-gritties of the story, where the grievance against a white senior employee who had given instructions to fellow managers to victimize us, to make sure that they get calls and deal with us decisively. So when that came to our attention, we then looked at grievance against the person. But the bank said no, rather these minor unsuspecting black than these white senior boss. So they sacrificed us. So I think I'll just conclude it there, my leader. Not too sure if you want to add.
Just to add on the matter, most people might think that maybe we actually have something against the bank, but it's not about the bank itself, but it's about what the bank is doing. I mean, FNB still remains untransformed even today, in 2017. I mean, obviously, as my colleagues have said here, once you say anything that is anti-white, then you actually get labeled and then you should be shifted out of the system. That's what happened to us. Before even the grievance was dealt with, a week after, we were then suspended because of the protection of the white person that we had logged a grievance with. So
actually what FNB did was to protect the racists inside the bank and turning these comrades into racists, to make sure that their grievance of racism, which is very strong, is not being dealt with. Again, that is how racism works. It turns its victims into perpetrators, so that the real perpetrators are left off the hook. So we're not going to do that. So we are cleared. Wednesday will be at FNB. Whether Jack Selir's respond to our letter or not is inconsequential. We will wait for him there at the headquarters of FNB. This matter is urgent. This matter must be dealt with, and we have given our commitment to support the call for change and want our people out there similarly to take a very strong position. Let us unite and defeat racism. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just have one question, sorry, to the employees. Do you perhaps have a charge sheet that you received from FNB that you're going to put forward to the public?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of more or less what you've been charged with and what the accusations are, but we don't know in detail.
We actually have the documents with us, which we are more than willing to give to you or share with you. And what's most important is the matter is the mere fact that each and everything is written down. Even the dismissal letters and everything, each and every document required to actually expose how dirty these banks are is with us.
And can you just give us a little bit of a background that this took place almost a year ago? You haven't been working. So I know FNB has said that there's been a disciplinary process and the CCMA has been involved. So how was the time? What exactly took place?
Okay. It took place. I was firstly suspended on the 23rd of March, 23rd of March last year. Subsequent to that, a week later, my fellow colleague here, former colleague, Mandla, was later then suspended. So that was on the 1st of April, just the time frames to be exact. So it was before we were going to have a meeting on the 6th of April that they saw that no, this matter we cannot win it because they even have proved these people. So we will lose this matter if we were to go forward and try to be fair. So let's just deal with them on a political way, then we'll deal with the consequences after. So it went on, and then the other fellow comrades in the form of Olan Kosi, who's here with us, and unfortunately Super Koga is not here, they were also suspended. So just to give you a story on which is actually what happened with all of us, is that we then were in suspension for 4 months, where they were trying to see what they can do. So in their form, they suspended me for an evening, but later they said there were institutional investigations, and then they came out with charges. So it was no longer the WhatsApp that I commented on, a private group WhatsApp, which is what I actually suspended for. So they came back with 10 charges. We were charged, we formed the union, and then it went on, and we were later dismissed. I think I was personally dismissed on the 15th of July, and then the later date is also the article. Then went to CCMA, and we tried to source help from a national organizer at COSATU, who made a promise but unfortunately did not deliver, which is very unfortunate because they're supposed to be making sure that jobs are preserved, and more especially in this very difficult times where it's very difficult for people to find jobs. But they also did not budge. They promised to come back to us. They did not do anything. So we were then left out of the cold, and FNB had to deal with us.
This is 20.
Yes, this is 2016. Yes.
Just to add, just briefly on the matter of what happened. Since you're saying this is political, it's more like political charges and political prosecution. What happened is that I was suspended for having companies that were registered. before I even joined company. But later on in the inquiry, none of those things were there in the inquiry, in fact, what I was suspected for. But they actually charged us for the emails, which were not even related to what I was suspended for, which was having companies. And those companies even deregistered, because those companies deregistered even before I joined FNB. So you can see that it's politically motivated, in fact. Just wanted to add that.
Okay. So it is clear that we are dealing with victimization because they don't want to transform. Anybody raising the issue of transformation is targeted. These brothers were targeted. FNB want to remain white, arrogant, and racist. This is the crux of the matter. We must not be deterred by their propaganda. They are trying to tarnish once more your good things, when in fact they should be asking for forgiveness, paying reparations, restitution, to make sure that this matter is resolved in the interest of the real victims, which is yourselves. Okay, thank you very much.